school auction is well on its way, and we just have all sorts of good information. And we're going to start with you, Vicki Hart. Vicki Hart, tell us why you're here today, sir.
Well, we're here representing Turnpike Christian School, and Turnpike is located on Northwest 7th and Tarrant in the Turnpike Church of Christ building. We are in our 9th year of offering Christian education to our community. We represent...
Welcome to the June the 15th taping of It's Happening in Grand Prairie. And before we bring you our guest today, we have one community service announcement that we know that you'll be interested in. We're reminding you on your calendar that June is Burglary Prevention Month. And if you would call 660-9000 or 642-TIPS in the event that you see anything unusual happening in your neighborhood that might need the attention of the Crime Stoppers or the police department. We need every citizen in Grand Prairie, Texas to be aware and to help the police department to fight against burglaries for this month of June, and a special effort. Pat Pavel, Ray Cass, and Sergeant Ray Corley will be happy to hear from you at 660-9019. Burglary Prevention Month in Grand Prairie, Texas. And now we are very excited today. We have two splendid guests with us. Kristen Green, Miss Grand Prairie, we're glad to welcome you back to the show today. And it's one day, I believe, before your birthday celebration at Republic Bank.
I'm so excited.
All right.
So excited.
And you have a special guest with us today, and you have agreed to co-host the show with me today and interview a very special artist, Mr. Martin Vandiver, who is a very special photographer. And Martin, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Wonderful. Isn't it exciting to be in the presence of a Miss Grand Prairie?
It certainly is.
Yes,
it's wonderful to be in the presence of you, too.
Wonderful. All right. And we're going to really center in on Martin today, Kristen. And I'm going to let you have the first question and let you start the interview today. Would you do that for us?
Okay. I'd like to know a little bit about your background in photography.
Well, I'm a commercial photographer by trade. I have a studio in Dallas, and I do annual reports, product illustration, and so forth. I've been in the business for about 15 years. Went to school at North Texas State.
All right.
Aside from what I've been doing with Dallas Magazine, this series of articles about the suburbs, I deal with industrial accounts and art directors and individuals who have photos that they need taken for whatever purpose.
Martin, now that we have set the stage and know your trade, and it's not really a trade with you, it's a method of artwork in a sense of the word, but we know it's your livelihood. Tell us a little bit about Martin before he got into photography, where you went to school, maybe where you were born, and you've told us a little bit about North Texas. Would you start out by letting us get acquainted with the real Martin?
Okay, well, my family is from Texas. Both sets of my grandparents and my parents both are from Denison, up on the Red River.
Denison, Texas.
My dad was a military man, and I was born in New York City, which made me a little bit strange to the rest of my family.
Just a little Yankee.
Just a little Yankee, that's
All
right. But, when time came to go to school, I chose North Texas State. It was in, well, I won't tell you how long ago that was, but since I majored in journalism there, and since I've been out of school, I've done quite a few things relative to photography. I've done photo finishing. I've worked in commercial photo labs, and I've shot catalogs, as most photographers have in Dallas. I have enjoyed working, back to this series of articles in Dallas Magazine, I've enjoyed working in the suburbs because there's a great deal going on out there, and it's helped my business along. That's been real pleasant.
All right. Now, Kristen, I know that you've studied a little photography. So I know that you have just some burning question that you would like to ask Martin relating to the photography, and especially since you couldn't get your black and white camera to work in Mexico. Would you spin off on that a little for us?
Well, I've experienced, like Miss Ruthie said, I took several years in high school and in college in photography, and I did not succeed in that field. I'm very impressed of your work. I know that they have not seen it yet, but tell me your secret. It's a gift.
No, I don't think it's a gift. It's nothing that you have naturally. I think maybe some people who are graphics related have an easier time than others because there does seem to be something natural there. I don't think I have it. I had to study hard. I studied in college. I studied everything I could get relative to design, and I did jewelry making and sculpture and so forth. It's just mainly some way to learn to express yourself. In your case, though, you mentioned, Ms. Ruthie mentioned your disaster with your black and white film in Mexico. You've found the answer, though. You have gone to automatic cameras.
The Canon Snappy, yes.
That makes everyone an artist. Competition is
Well,
getting
no, I
fierce
still have problems with that one, to be honest. But
Martin, was there someone in particular that really did give you a send-off into the work of photography? Someone inspired you?
Yeah, someone did.
Oh, right.
My father did, actually. I don't even think he realized it. But one of my earliest memories is of his darkroom. And I was really impressed by what he did as a hobby. Like I said, he was a military man and he traveled all over. He brought home cameras, and when I was in high school, he brought me one. And that probably did it. It wasn't a sophisticated camera. It was one of the first small format cameras. Minolta made a 16mm spy camera, a little thing that James Bond used, you know.
Yes.
And he brought me one. And that was really the send-off. That encouraged me to take a camera with me everywhere because I could have it in my shirt pocket. And I didn't have to be embarrassed about having this thing that I was insecure with. I took pictures of everything that I really wanted. Now I can look back and I have those pictures, whereas being an adolescent, I would never have taken those pictures. They would just have gone by the way.
Well, we know that there are many spin-offs from that, and I wish we had time to ask you the very first job, commercial job that you have, but we'd like for you to tell us about the commercial job that brought you to Grand Prairie, Texas recently, and then tell us about the Dallas magazine and some of the, maybe the suburbs that you've hit in, and show some of your wonderful work. Would you do that for us right now?
I'm glad, by the way, I'm glad you're not going to ask me about my first commercial job because for the life of me, I don't think I can think of it.
Oh.
I don't remember.
Well.
I don't remember what it was that I did for money the first time, although I think it might have been a wedding.
Wonderful.
I'll put that way out of my memory because they're real hard to do.
All right.
Dallas Magazine, an art director from Dallas Magazine came to me last year with a proposal for a project, and they were going to set out at that point to do an article a month about a given suburb. And we began then, the writer Thomas Hubbard and myself, producing these works. And involved, well, I had to wait for the writer to begin with to finish the story so that we could have some basis, some starting point. And from that point on, I would make appointments with civic officials or Chamber of Commerce people to try to get some feel for what they thought of their community and ask them for help. Actually, I would just sort of pick their brain for the most interesting location in town, or for perhaps the best idea to help illustrate the local people. It wasn't an intent. I didn't really intend to try to paint the most glorious picture, but Dallas Magazine, being a Chamber of Commerce publication, is interested in civic development and civic pride and so forth, and it made it pretty easy from their standpoint, the Chamber of Commerce, the local chambers of commerce. We did Plano, Richardson, Garland, Mesquite, Duncanville, Grand Prairie, Irving so far, to name a few. The work varies. The project includes one color photograph and 3 or more, or up to 3 or more, whatever that means. That's like Andy Rooney on 60 Minutes, who would always say, this and more later. And he finally took issue and asked them what exactly and more was. The one color photograph was firm, and the most important photograph and I tried in every issue to accurately depict what the local people thought themselves thought as an important visual image of their town. I got a chance to interview mayors and so forth. I got a chance to photograph dignitaries, artists. It's been good.
It's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
That would be an exciting experience. And you began about 14 months ago?
Actually, I began in December. An interesting aspect about this project is that it shows up in a magazine the month after I'm working on it. And so in order to get Plano ready, I had to start at Christmas time. Well, in January, there's really no interest in a main street covered with Christmas tinsel and Christmas lights and so forth. And it's been that way all along. You know, I would do, well, for instance, I'm looking at fall. Well, the fall issue will come out in the winter, and I've been trying to figure out how to get around that limitation.
Well, in our 3 minutes that we have left, would you pick up your magazines and maybe show and tell something from...
I'll give you, well, first of all, let me pull this issue, which is the Grand Prairie issue. And I'll show you the little house right behind us here in the studio. What is the name of this?
The name of that is the Goodwin Cabin in Cottonwood Park.
This is the little photograph that the editors chose to depict Grand Prairie. I'm not completely in charge of all of that. I give them a certain selection to go by. And this is how I met Miss Ruthie here. I've got a little photograph of she and the folks she was interviewing and so forth. The one I'm proudest of so far is not necessarily the nicest piece of work, but as I had mentioned to you when I was photographing Garland, as I stumbled through here looking for Garland, I photographed the Santa Fe Depot, and my father, when I showed him this article, had a strange expression on his face, and he told me at that time, after this magazine had already run, that my grandfather had built this building.
Wow.
Wasn't that exciting?
In the middle 20s.
And that is the Depot of Garland?
This is the Garland Santa Fe Depot, which is part of their historical preservation society. They've got it in a little mock neighborhood. There's an interurban car. Perhaps you remember what interurban was all about. And in the background, some restored antebellum halls.
Has that always been the Santa Fe Depot?
As a matter of fact, I guess not, because my grandfather worked for the Katy Railroad. I know that the Katy at this time goes through Garland as well as the Santa Fe, but they have different routes. But I suppose there was another time to all that.
Of all of the things, we have 1 minute. Tell the most interesting piece of photography that you've ever done, either as an amateur or as a commercial artist, that you feel the most excitement about.
Wow. Well, I have to admit, I'm a commercial photographer, and I do this for a living. This is what I do for a living. So I'll give you the answer. It's something of a cop-out. I'll give you the answer that I gave a client one time on a job. He said to me, "Aren't you bored by shooting these widgets?" He had a product that had to be shot, and I went to his location. I said, "Well, this is what I do. This is what I take pictures of things, and right now, this is my job, and I'm interested in this. This is of great interest to me. But I do like to travel. Travel photos and being on locations at strange places in the world are really fun. I like to do that."
Wonderful. Thank you for allowing us to interview you at this time. And we're going to be back after our PSA, and you and I are going to interview Kristen. You're going to change seats.
Oh, boy.
And we'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest show on earth is coming to Grand Prairie.
Circus Circus, A Night Under the Big Top is an evening you won't want to miss. Join us June 26th at the Flagship Inn in Arlington for a night of fine food, dancing, and much more.
All proceeds benefit the Grand Prairie Chamber of Commerce and the Quality of Life Foundation. For tickets, call 264-1558.
Stop clowning around and
Call now.
Please remember that Circus Circus is the very important fundraiser for the Chamber of Commerce. This is the once-a-year fundraiser, and this gala is very, very important to the city of Grand Prairie and its Chamber of Commerce. We hope to see everyone there on the magic date of June the 26th, 1987, 6:30 p.m. at the Crystal Palace Ballroom. And now to our next two guests. And when you look at our format, you will think that we've only had maybe fruit basket turnover, and actually that's what has happened. And now, Martin, we're delighted to welcome you as the co-host.
Thank you.
So that you and I can maybe interview Kristen Green, our very own Miss Grand Prairie. Kristen, welcome to the center stage.
Thank you very much.
Oh, right. Kristen, we know that you're in the preparation stages. I believe next month in July is the magic month of the Miss Texas pageant.
July 11th. It's less than 3 weeks.
Less than 3 weeks, and we know you're doing all good things getting ready for the pageant. But before I ask you any questions, I thought it would be nice if we let a professional artist such as Mr. Martin Vandiver maybe have a first shot question. Would you be open to that?
I sure would.
All right, Martin, the floor is yours.
I'll take up where you left off, Ms. Jones. Obviously, we see what the requirements are. We don't really have to be told. But what I would like to know about preparation for a pageant like you're going through right now for Miss Texas, what is required? What kind of basic groundwork do you have to do in order to get prepared for something like that? I mean, surely you must have to spend hours on the telephone and hours here in preparation and hours there. What goes through your mind? What do you actually have to do in the time before you go to this pageant?
There's definitely a lot of time spent in preparation for the pageant. Our mornings start, or our day starts around maybe 6:30. There's a 2-hour workout that I do a day, which is a 6-day-a-week program. We are on a very strict diet at this time, eating, well, basically 3 meals a day, but it's not a whole lot. I work with Jim Blackmore on my interview, which we work 2 times a week, and sometimes work 4 hours a day.
So in essence, you have a coach on this.
Right, he's very good. He and his wife both. Sharon Blackmore also works with me. And they're wonderful people. I appreciate their time, but I work with them on the interview preparation. And then on my talent portion of the pageant, I sing my song maybe 5 times a day. And that's basically, the other part of competition is the evening gown, and you say a speech, which takes time to practice, but that does not take quite as much preparation. But those are the 4 categories that.
Well, how about the business of doing what you do? I mean, is there more to it than we might think, really?
Yes. I'm basically new at this. I've not been in it since I was a little girl. I have had the interest and the desire to become Miss Texas since I was small, but I didn't actually start working towards it till I was 17 years old. So I've been involved in it for 3 years now. And when I first began, I had no earthly idea how much time was involved. And I have a manager, Sharon Redwine, who does a lot of the phone work and appearance. She's always there on appearances with me. And so she does a lot of the telephone business.
Well, I can see that you're lucky to have somebody to help you out.
Oh, definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
Now, he set the stage just properly for our next question. For those in video land that have maybe not met you yet, Kristen Green, and know that you're our Miss Grand Prairie, you came into office as Miss Grand Prairie back in November of '86, and you've had all of this time to get ready. Tell them what steps you took prior to becoming Miss Grand Prairie, and you were Miss San Antonio, I believe, and tell us what all you've done up until that time.
Well, I became Miss San Antonio my senior year in high school, just Tom C. Clark. And that was a wonderful year. I learned a whole lot. I was young, and I had to give up a lot of experiences in high school, but it was worth every minute of it. I competed in the Miss Texas pageant in July of 1985, and I was in the top 20, which I was very pleased to have the opportunity to do that.
For your first year?
Yes,
Right.
and the following year, 1986, since I was young, and like I said, I started pageanting when I was 17, and I did not have a great knowledge of the pageants. And so I laid out of the pageant in 1986, and I watched, and I attended the Miss America pageant, and I learned a tremendous amount. Then I competed in the Miss Grand Prairie pageant in November of '86.
All right, now, there are many in our video land, and probably Martin does not know your talent. Would you tell us your talent and how you practice weekly with a very special group in Fort Worth, Texas? Would you do that?
I sing. I'm a singer, and I started at the Johnny High Country Music Review in Fort Worth. I look back, I remember standing and holding my mic just as stiff as possible, and I was so afraid to move. And having the experience to travel with the Johnny High Country Music Review and the exposure of being on his show every single Saturday has been tremendous experience. It has really helped me in my stage presence and just being comfortable to express my singing.
You've already improved your body language 20% just in the last few months.
Thank you. Thanks.
Wonderful.
I really enjoy it.
All right. Now that we know about the music, what are you most apprehensive about as we go into the pageant?
I'm excited. I'm just very, very excited to compete again. Like I said, I was out of the pageant last year, and I describe it somewhat as a horse in its cage before its race, and someone's not opening the gate, and you're constantly wanting to get out there and do it. And I'm just very, very excited.
You've chosen your wardrobe.
Chosen my wardrobe.
Everything's ready. You've chosen your song, and we're keeping that a secret until...
Oh, I can tell Grand Prairie.
Oh, you can
It's God Bless America and America the Beautiful. It's a fantastic medley.
Good.
That we put together.
Good. And who's done your arranging for you for that?
Ron Giulio, and he works out of Fort Worth, and he's great. He does it on his own band. He's just one-man band, and he's just very good. Very good.
Martin, is there any magic question that you would like to ask Kristen now to let's help her prepare for the Miss Texas pageant?
Well, in truth, I don't think there's any problem. I can see you're a shoo-in for Miss Texas. I was just wondering what you've got on your mind for later on down the road, Miss America, Miss U.S., Miss World.
Well, the pageant that I'm involved in goes to the Miss America pageant, and hopefully I will be there someday. I am studying communication broadcast, and I'm a junior. I attended the university in San Antonio my freshman year, and I went to Mountain View College last 2 semesters. This next semester I'm planning on going to the University of Texas at Arlington or TCU. So that's beyond pageants. If that never works out, I'd like to do something in the radio, television, film.
Well, it looks like you've got it firmly under control.
Well, thank you.
I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Now, when you get to be Miss America and travel for a year, then where do you think that you will go? Back to school?
Oh, definitely. I definitely want to get my degree. And if that were to happen, experiencing even, being Miss Grand Prairie, so many doors are opened. And as of right now, you really can't see your future. You just really don't know where you will end up. Only God knows.
Tell us how Grand Prairie has received you. Now, this is your opportunity.
Oh, I could talk for, how long do we have? Grand Prairie has been absolutely wonderful. I cannot express in the amount of time that we have how wonderful Grand Prairie has treated me. I feel the warmth and the friendship and the it's a family-oriented city, and there's such a closeness and a bond that is felt between Grand Prairie and I.
I know that you did not think that Grand Prairie could love you like they did Stephanie Simone, who became Miss Texas last year, but they have, haven't they?
Definitely. Well, the next day. It wasn't there was not a period that I was never accepted, and that was what was so overwhelming to me, that I didn't have to scoot in a shoe and try to fit into something. The shoe immediately fit, and that was so heartwarming.
All right, Kristen, where are your parents now?
My parents are in San Antonio, and they're really great people. They're coming home this weekend. I've sent them a plane ticket, and they're coming up for my clothes showing on Saturday.
Wonderful.
So they're in San Antonio.
All right, now we have about 4 minutes left. I'd like for you to look out into your camera, and in the event that some young people are watching our show, and they do at times during the summer months when they're out of school, I'd like for you to really sound off to them how exciting it is to get where you are at this time, and what you have to give up, and how you balance your life and balance your studies. Give them a hard sell, would you please, Kristen?
Okay. There is a lot of discipline that is involved in being involved in the things that I am right now. It's very worthwhile. A lot of time is consumed, and you have to give up a little bit of your social life, but the experience and the people that you meet, it's such a great, I've learned so much from the people that I've met, and it's just a wonderful, well, one thing that I've received is scholarships. I'm now a junior, and I have not paid for one bit of my college, and that's one way that has been very worthwhile. You get your rewards, definitely.
All right. Kristen, do you have a family? Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have a sister, and she's in San Antonio also. And I have a brother-in-law. His name is Rod. He's a wonderful person. And I have a brother who is a pilot in the Air Force. He's in Omaha, Nebraska.
That is a wonderful family. And of course, all of them are coming to the Miss Texas pageant, and then on to the Miss America pageant, of course. Yes, all the way. All right.
So sweet.
Oh, now, singing on the Johnny High show, you've told us what an experience that has been for you. Has Johnny and his wife been a special support to you in any way?
Yes, I call them somewhat my parents. They have been so supportive in everything that I've done, and an encouragement. They have really encouraged me all the way through, in the good times and the bad. Wonderful. They really have.
Now, you've mentioned that Jim Blackmore and Sharon, his lovely wife, are schooling you. Is the main hurdle now into the interviews and answering the questions of the judges, say that they ask you about current events? Is that what most of your time is going on other than your workouts?
Yes, it is. It is. The Dallas Morning News and Time and Newsweek and USA Today is always sitting right there on my bed in the morning. So that's another way my day starts out.
All right. One more question from Martin before we wind up. Martin, you've listened to all of this good interview with Miss Kristen Green, our Miss Grand Prairie. Is there any wonderful word of advice that you would like to give her as far as boning up for the judges, or you've heard her very strict routine that she's into? Is there anything you'd like to say while we give you the last opportunity?
I don't know that I could presume to give you any advice, but I see that you're very comfortable in front of the lights, and I think that with that feeling, you'll do just fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, coming from an artist himself, I think that is a wonderful word of encouragement.
Encouragement, yeah.
Kristen Green, you're very important to Grand Prairie, and on tomorrow, Tuesday, this is the 15th, that's about the 16th at Republic Bank. We're honoring you with a birthday salute.
Yes.
Y'all come to the birthday salute for Kristen Green. It's going to be fun at Republic Bank. And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you, and would you all join me? It's happening in Grand Prairie.